Hello there, this is Jared Buffington with Play to Win Heroclix podcast. I know that it has been a couple of weeks since I've put out some material, but it is Tuesday. Yesterday I had to hibernate to recover from the Rock World Cup, and so we got some exciting stuff to talk about, and I'm going to try to put it up before you guys get oversaturated with rock talk, but I don't think there's a such thing as too much rock talk actually, but I'm hoping to get this episode up early today. So we went to the Rock. My mother stays about 40 minutes out from where the tournament was held. My teammates Todd, Solomon, James, and Josafa, Joe, Jesus, they came up and took a plane out, and we stayed at my mother's to get practice in and go to the events. And I want to start off by saying that this tournament was awesome. I think this was Joe's second or third Roctober. This was my first and Solomon's first Roctober, and it was amazing. Better than any Super Q that I've gone to. It was like the Mecca of Heroclix. It felt like I haven't been to Worlds yet because I was out of town during Worlds this year, but from everything that I've heard from people, this is way better than Worlds, and I believe it. I mean, cash prizing and just that atmosphere and the click-a-thon and how much you could feel that the people that run the Rock care about the players and care about the game, because they just put a lot of time into it. Actually knew the head judge, Terry. He judges a local venue here by my mom's house, so I've actually gone there a few times, and he runs the event. Some of the judges, I got to know them from other tournament places I go to when I'm up here in Georgia, and it was great. I saw some old faces, met some new faces, got to hang out with Pat a little bit and the Majestics crew. We wanted to go out with them afterwards, but Joe had work in the morning. He had to fly in at 6 a.m. and then had to go to work, and so we didn't get to go out and hang out with them this time. But just being around those guys was awesome. We recorded some games. We recorded Pat's top 8 game, which is crazy, which will be up on the channel soon. We recorded day 1, me playing against Isaac, the Isaac, and that'll be up soon. So without further ado, let's get into the weekend. So first was Friday, and Friday was the 400 point Super Q, last chance Super Q, and then after that was the quarterfinals, 300 point modern. So I played in the Super Q. Solomon and Joe did not play in it for whatever reason, and I played a Krang team, basically the craziest Krang team you've ever seen. It was Krang, Batmite, Night Nurse, Justin Seyfried, and instead of putting others, I put Jocasta on Krang, and I put Felix Faust on the team. So it was crazy. Game 1, I played against a point denial team, and actually, like, for my first 3 rounds, I played the entire 4 Points Gaming Club except for Ed, who actually ended up winning the whole thing later, because Ed was not in the Super Q, I don't believe. So I played like back to back the whole 4 Points Gaming Club. So round 1 I played against the Point Denial, Resurrection Man, Con Loki, Dead Man team, and I was a little bit worried about what the heck was going on with it, but I rolled yellow 2 out of 3 times. The game lasted less than 20 minutes, less than 10 minutes, I believe, actually. I hit his team for the 2 yellow powers. When I finally did go out with Krang, I was able to take Dead Man off the map, so Resurrection Man was off the map. Dead Man was off the map, and I got a big pulse wave in with Krang, and the pulse wave would have only done 6 damage, but I crit hit, so I one-shot the Loki, and I mean, it was just a bad matchup for that team. So that game was over. The second round, I played against Isaac, and you got to remember, I've not been playing that long. I don't have that much experience. I think this is like my 5th big competitive Heroclix tournament, and got to play against Isaac, who was the reigning world champion. And even though he's an 11-year-old, it's still that thing runs through your mind of, okay, I'm playing big players, but we have a really great team and a great team captain in Josapha, and I'm also a pastor and learn a lot about psychology and study history and listen to Tony Robbins and all that stuff. So my mindset going into this was, because I knew there was going to be a lot of big players, was I want to play a big player because I'm not going to be worried about that, that -1 attack people seem to get when they play against big players, when they play against Pat or somebody. My mindset wasn't, oh my gosh, this great player. My mindset going into this was, I'm glad I'm playing a big player because they're going to have to play against me, and also they're going to have to compete against themselves because they have a reputation to lose and I don't. And so my mindset in this was automatically, because of their prestige, instead of fearing their prestige, I actually looked at their prestige as going against them. So that in my mind set me up as I'm playing against them 2v1 and I have the advantage. And I know that there's certainly some truth in that, but when your mindset is looking at something like that, you're automatically empowered to do well. Any of these famous guys, if I didn't automatically know a call or a ruling, I never took their word for it. I always asked the judge. Sometimes they were wrong. Most of the time they were right. But I never gave in to the fandom, even though I'm a big fan of the game and of good players. So that was my mindset. I played against Isaac, and it was a horrible matchup for him. He played the Quinjet with Quicksilver, Jarvis, 2 Ultron drones, I think a Henry, a bunch of ID cards. It was a really good team, but I won map, put us on the Whiz Kids office, and he moved up to the middle. I went out, killed 2 drones. I got to perplex up my movement to get into position to be able to do that, but I killed 2 drones. I think I even rolled power dampeners and, put the dampener tokens on everybody. He had to move to take the dampeners off. And I ended up rolling red and sending them back, to the starting area. And basically I just whittled away at his team. But I will say this for Isaac. Isaac, even though he's 11 years old, the character and the confidence and almost the regalness that he carried himself with, because 4 Point Gaming Club is a team full of world champions, good players, people that obviously have a lot of confidence, and it shows that he has just been groomed with a champion pedigree. There was a turn where I called Precision Strike with Krang, went Colossal, went out there, attacked Quicksilver. He rolls for super senses, rolls a 5. Now, mind you, I have Precision Strike. Precision Strike is a passive power. I don't have to declare that I'm using Precision Strike for it to be activated. So he didn't actually get to roll, super senses to evade the attack. He rolled it. He got a 5. I completely forget and go back. He moves for his turn, and then it's my turn. I'm planning on how to go and kill this Quicksilver, and I'm thinking, he has super senses. I need to call Precision Strike, and it felt like deja vu. And I said, wait, I just did this. And I said to Isaac, man, I had Precision Strike. That Quicksilver's supposed to be dead. He said, oh, you did call Precision Strike. And he takes his Quicksilver off of the board immediately, without a second thought. Now, mind you, not only has other actions on my turn gone by, but his entire turn went by, and it's the beginning of my next turn. And I tell him, because even though he has more accomplishments in this game than me, as just a human, especially as a believer and a leader, I'm not, going to play hardball against, mostly anybody, but especially someone younger than me. And I tell him, no, you don't have to do that. That's my fault. No, you don't have to take that thing off the board. Put it back on the board, Isaac. And he says, nope, what's fair is fair. And oh my gosh, I was so taken aback by the character of him, because when I first started out, locals would tell me how bad competitive players are. Locals would tell me how bad the Rock is, and when they would nitpick on rules with me and not let me take stuff back, they would say that's how it is at the Rock. And to see that that's not how champions act. That might be how some of the Rock players are, or the big Worlds players are, but not the really, really good ones, okay? The really, really good ones are class acts all around from what I've seen and observed. So it was a really great honor to play with Isaac. If you ever hear this, hats off, buddy, to you. Third round, I played against this guy, and he's a new player, like a military guy. He was playing a Quinjet team, and he had 3 Ultron drones instead of 1, and he had 2 Colossal Retaliators starting on his team. And I made I won map roll, put us on the same map, and I made the crucial mistake of expecting it to go the same way as my game against Isaac went, which in Heroclix match never go on autopilot. You got to be in the moment with each match, even if the teams are similar. So first of all, and I forget the young man's name. I think he was friends with some of the people from Phoenix Nest, but I'm not positive on that. So he positions his drones immaculately to where I cannot get an attack off on both drones. I can only attack one. And I go and I do that. I kill a drone. He retaliates. And to sum up the game, the retaliators almost, solely cleared out all of my support. And he's able to finish my Krang with calling in a Nick from the Quinjet. I rolled the orange, the dampener tokens several times. And, I still had a fighting chance in the game, but I realized after running the game back through my mind, because, I wanted to see where I went wrong. And where I went wrong was I should have analyzed the match. And this is a big part of the game, a big part of what separates, okay players from good players is threat assessment. And here's where I kind of failed at my threat assessment. I should have assessed that the biggest threat here is not the drones immediately. The biggest immediate threat is those retaliators, because they're going to eat up my support figures, which Krang is all about his support figures. And, with no damage reducers, just super senses and very shallow dials, my support was very vulnerable to the retaliators. I should have moved up, like chosen flight with Krang, moved up on the side of the map 4 or 5 squares, enough to give me enough reach that I could attack both Colossals in one turn. And if I would have been able to do that, my support would have lived longer. I would have had more time, and I really think I would have been in the game, especially still getting the dampener tokens. The Ultrons wouldn't have been a threat. The Quinjet wasn't a threat. The game was really in my hands because of what I was rolling with Faust. And it's just my threat assessment and my math was off. So that was a big learning experience. After that... before that game, okay, so that was game 4. Game 3 was against Scott Crampton, because remember, I played the 4 Point Gaming Club 3 games in a row, and Scott Crampton played Faust. He played Mitzi Frogman and his Quinjet at 75 with 2 Colossals, and all of that. And we played, it was great to meet him. Great guy. He started off the game by saying how he's not a douchey player and trying to get me to consent to not being a douche, which is great with me because I also don't play that way. And by douchey, we mean, oh no, you said you outwitted this, you can't change your mind to that. Which, if you've not done another free action after that, or not done any actions after that, you should be able to change your mind before, it resolves. Little stuff like that. So, we played, I rolled yellow, so he wins map, he does first turn immunity, and, I rolled yellow with Faust. This is before I knew the ruling, and he did not know the ruling, that you don't get pen blasts with Faust's yellow power. Okay? But we thought that he did for this purpose. So I roll yellow, I perplex up his attack twice, I have 2 probs with Krang and Batmite, and I attack his whole team, and I hit. I kill both Colossals, both drones, injure Mitzelplick heavily, get Frogman on click 4, hit the Quinjet, all of these things, and his team's basically decimated. I mean, I basically won the game turn 1. He proceeds to move up with the Jet and Mitzelplick to the side. Again, my threat assessment was off here because I've been so traumatized by Mitzelplick in playtesting with Joe that I just said, okay, I'm going to push my Krang again, and so that at the end of this turn he's going to be essentially on click 5 from going Colossal again, but I'm going to kill this Mitzelplick. So I killed Mitzelplick, and I hit the Jet again. Remember, at 75 points he only has 11 clicks, so he was on, I don't know the actual equivalent to the starting line, but I know he has 11 clicks total, so he was going to be on click 4, and then I hit him for, I believe, 6, because I was using Perplex from Faust to get my first attack to 7 damage. No, I wouldn't have done that this turn. I would have done attack. So I did 5 to Mitzi, and then... No, I did 6 to Mitzi and then 5 to the Jet. So it was on click 4. Then it was on click, after 5 damage, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On click 9. Man, after hitting the Jet twice and doing call-ins, his Jet was, the click dials were up. I made such a big error on the threat assessment because next turn he's able to real boy out a Nick Fury, believe it or not. And I believe he maybe called in an ID character on his first turn or something like that to roll the dial up. And so he got real boy Nick Fury out, takes out Krang, and then I'm just fighting tooth and nail. I'm able to kill his Quinjet with poison. He only had 2 clicks of life left, and we go back and forth. I roll Annie a couple times on the dice, and instead of can't clear action tokens or stuff like that, I picked some not so good things. I got red once and set us all back to the map. So his Frogman and Nick Fury. Frogman takes out most of my support. He kills Justin Seyfried and kills Night Nurse and Batmite. And it's just Faust versus Nick and Frogman. And, he got it by the end. And with Frogman, by the way. And at the end, he was, rushing me. They had called 10 minutes. And he started rushing me. He did apologize after for rushing. Which there wasn't a lot that I could do, but I wasn't even getting to do 2 or 3 minute turns. It's just rush, rush, rush. And here's something I'll say now. And by the way, that's nothing against Scott Crampton. I liked him. I enjoyed playing against him. I enjoyed the gamesmanship of the rushing. I'm not personally against that too much. You know, I want everyone to respect each other, but I have as much a right to stall to a certain degree as you do to rush. And as long as that's understood as a part of the game, you know, that's okay. But what I did notice from this tournament, one of the big things I took away is Heroclix is known for its good sportsmanship and how great its community it is. But what I saw at this rock of watching players, going around and watching the games, everyone is super about sportsmanship unless it's a competitive tournament and unless it's the last 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, I saw players win because they only allowed their opponent to make 4 or 5 turns, you know. I saw games decided by how long players took with their turns. And I mean, they got really unsportsmanship-like with their turns at the end and stalling and asking questions and rushing people or not letting people have turns. And I saw that, and I'm okay with it. It is what it is. I mean, I've been to state prison twice. I'm a convicted felon. I'm not expecting the world to be perfect, especially in competitive Heroclix play. But, I mean, it is what it is, and you should know what it is, and you should own what it is. If we're going to be sportsmanship-like, and that's what our reputation is going to be, let's be that way. If we're going to have gamesmanship, like when Michael Jordan would tug on people's shorts or use his arm to kind of nudge people or push people so that he could have an open shot, I'm all for that, baby. Let's have that be what it is, but don't say it's one thing and then if a newer player does it, you scandalize them, but, you know, vets get a pass for doing it. Which, all of that anyways is all some 48 laws of power nonsense anyways. But just wanted to say that because that's something that stuck out to me. And the 4th round was against the guy that I already described the match with. So that was fun. I bought enough points to play in the quarterfinals, like 20 points to play in the quarterfinals. And if I didn't do well, I had 50 points so I could play in the semis. And apparently this is an ongoing thing, but I didn't know that if you enter once it starts the quarterfinals, you can't re-enter with points later on. So you kind of just got to ride it out. And so that was kind of, you know, sucked. Which I'm all right with. There was like 12 guys in the corners playing just vicious teams. And I was like, yeah, I did not need that after this long day. So I didn't play. I sold my stuff and ended up being able to get like a Jenny Sparks and a Dr. Fate ID card instead of those points, which was a great trade for me. So anyway, so the next day came and it was the day of the semis. We played teams, and I feel so bad for Joe because we were basically counting on Joe to be an auto win. And, you know, me and Solomon, at least one of us to pull out a win one of the times in the sealed. So Superior Foes of Spider-Man, we get one super rare and the rest are like rares. We get like the common Spider-Mans and one of the rares was Electro and some stuff. And oh, we got Speed Demon was the good thing. And I wanted to use Speed Demon off rip, and we automatically knew that Craven was going to Joe. Because that's his style of piece. So Todd I start building a Spider-Man team for Todd because we're probably going to do a Sinister Syndicate team for me and my Speed Demon. But then he starts taking Electro, building a thing with Electro, like with Norman Osborn, with the Green Goblin as an ent, and I had Outwit, Perplex, and Enhance, and all this stuff, and started making this mechanic, and like, okay, but remember, I'm playing Speed Demon. So he basically built this awesome idea of a team for me that can make Electro get 6 damage off, and it has Speed Demon with it. And played it, and I felt when he made it, I was like, man, I should let him play his team, but the only thing I had for it was I really wanted to play Speed Demon, and he was trying to build with taking the pieces that were already, I had already claimed, so to say. So I have that team, which I was uncomfortable with. I should have just gave it to him. And instead of taking the Spider-Man team I built, because it had 2 75-point Spider-Man with super strength, 2 Jonah Jamesons for the double perplex, and the Spider Girl thing that has run and shot Psychic Blast, and she can prob herself for defense and offense. And he says, no, I don't want to use that team. He builds probably the worst team ever with Venom, Moon Knight, and some other stuff. And I mean, and he'll tell you it was the worst team ever, because later he said, yeah, the only thing about my team is that I did not have the ability to kill when you're playing Heroclix. And I mean, you can't get any points whatsoever unless you're Phil Jr., who made it to like top 8 with a bunch of roll-offs and barely any points, which was awesome, by the way. You can't win without killing stuff. And so Joe, of course, like we suspected, he had Craven, 2 vermins, or 1 vermin, and the girl that like has stretching arms. I don't know if her name is Anaconda or what, but she has plasticity with giant reach of 2 for her plasticity. And he was owning, and he won both. He got to win a game on the camera, and we just let him down so bad. Feel bad for Joe, because his weekend was basically watching people play clicks for most of the time. And then, he just got to play in the finals, and he played in this teams, but we let him down. So we quit after 2 rounds. It was just some awful Heroclix. The Electro I played, he got killed like automatically, like turn 1 or turn 2 in all of my games. My first time we played against the team, I think it's Thompson's team, that Team Sailboat that made the Devil Dinosaur, and the guy I played had the same Spider-Man team like I built, the girl Spider-Man, the 2 Spider-Man, but he had Mephisto, so they were Mystic Spider-Man. They're all copying Mystics, and man, it was just crazy. And team after that, it came tooth and nail, but the guy, outplayed me. At a team with every piece had running shot at a bunch of range, except for the 1 piece that had perplex. So we dropped after that. Got some rest. I entered the semis knowing that I was going to play Krang, and knowing that Krang was going to be strong. Because when a piece, and I ran Idle Krang, which, if you don't know the difference, there's Standard Krang, which James built from here on the East Coast, that is Baxter Stockman, Justin Seifert, Krang, and Ultron's own Pandora's box, that type of thing, with your relics and ID cards. There's Dragon Krang, which another Florida guy, Mark Landis, which shout out to Mark. Mark is the man. We were talking about how they need to make a Secret Wars set OP kit. He is the builder of the Dragon Krang tech, and Dragon Krang is Krang, Baxter, Justin, and Ant-Man. And what he does is he sits back behind some walls, makes ants to tie you up, stop you from, blocking lines of fire, and kill some stuff off with poison, and, he can switch it into the one with exploit and maybe take out a colossal or actually attack some pieces. And he makes you come to the lair, and it's a dragon, because the dragon guards its lair with treasure, and Krang is guarding the lair of guarding points, and you cannot get points unless you enter the dragon's lair, because otherwise you're fighting these 0-point ant pogs, which is great. Tested that team a lot after playing Mark. And then there's Idle Krang, which Idle Krang is Batmite, Justin Seifert, Night Nurse, and Krang. And the way that Idle Krang works is you make Krang not only Justin Seifert's Sentinel, but also Batmite's Idle. And you send Krang out with Justin. He attacks twice now, hopefully killing 2 figures. And then you move Batmite activating his foot power, and you teleport Krang back so that next turn you can heal up with Night Nurse. Such a good team. That team is strong in tactics. So in no tactics, it's pretty much, like in my way of thinking, it's going to reign supreme. The only bad matchups I was looking for was really Nighthawk teams. And I came down to, I was thinking, I'm really just kind of betting that 2 out of 4 games I'm not going to play a Nighthawk, and I'm going to clear so that I can place for the next round for the finals. And I win all of my games. Round 1, who did I play against? Oh, round 1 I played like a overdrive kind of Sinister Syndicate team, like a Doc Ock team, but it was a little scarier. It had Doc Ock, Clarion, Nightwing, the 75-point rare that can sidestep free action attack, and 25-point Outsiders Nightwing. And in this game, I went for my Alpha Strike, and I rolled 2 crit misses. I probbed out of one of them, but the other one stuck. Thank God. The first one, I attacked Doc Ock, I critical miss. I prob out of it, and I kill Doc Ock. Then I attack Clarion. He probs me. I attack again, roll a crit miss. And I was kind of scared. My back was up against the wall. But I managed to basically beat him with poison because he attacked with Teagle and had his Nightwing next to Krang, and I just chose poison, used poison, heal up. Next turn, choose poison, use poison, heal up, and basically win off of the poisons. And later had to attack Clarion and killed him. And round 2 was against really great guy. Let me look up the name. They have a podcast. It's actually called Brothers Prob. And he said he was the funny guy. I just got friends on Facebook with his partner. Not life partner. Heroclix podcast partner. Johnny Alvarado Jr. is his partner. But I didn't play Johnny. I played Robert. Yeah, I'm already friends with Robert. Robert Sedani. And great guy. Funny guy, coolest action tokens ever. So he has action tokens with the Unk, the Kia Life symbol, and his partner has, Johnny has action tokens with the Dr. Fate helmet. They both play Spectre at full. One of the chases from the Flash set, the girl that can like blink teleport anywhere, that has Mystic Steam ability. I think it's Pandora. And who was the other person? And Clarion. And so I do the right threat assessment this time. I kill the chick that can blink because Spectre, as scary as he is, he can't see through hindering, blocking, or elevated. And Clarion, he positioned Clarion to where Clarion can't quite get all the way across the map. So I kill the girl, go back, from taking the Mystics. He pulls up on me. And I think he misses with Teagle. So I choose poison, kill the Teagle with poison. And heal up Krang. And I think I clear. Then next turn, I'm behind blocking, so he can't really attack. He tries to get in position to be able to attack next turn. And everyone has stealth. Justin has stealth, and I think Bat might have stealth. No, Night Nurse has stealth. And I move away and, kill Clarion, and he moves Spectre. He has to move Spectre again to be able to get a shot off. And I charge in there a precision strike and, kill the Spectre. And that was it for that game. Round 3. Who the heck did I play against? Who did I play against in round 3? I cannot remember who I played in round 3. Let me think. Krang moving. Oh, round 3 was crazy. So it was my game that was on the Twitch feed camera. And I play against, I forgot his name, but he was a great guy. He ran Pin Particles, Nick Fury, Star Labs Technician, Coriander, and the Hat. And he moves up. His critical error is he forgets that Krang gets +2 when he goes Colossal. So he moves out just enough that I can hit with both attacks. I'm nervous a little. I forget the first attack. But I move up with +2 everything. I say, oh, I'll try for Nick, even though he might roll a shape change. I attack Nick. He does not roll a shape change. I one-shot Nick Fury on turn 2. And I move with Batmite, and I move back, to the board by Justin and Night Nurse. He moves up with what's her face? With Coriander, moves up and is double beated. So I'm here. I'm already on click 3 from whatever. So from last turn. So I decide, though, I'm going to go Colossal. I'm going to carry Batmite for the extra prob and try to kill his Coriander and end the game. Not giving Coriander a shot to, kill Justin and run the heck away. So I attack. I miss. I prob. I miss. I prob with Batmite. I miss. I roll a 5 3 times. All I need is a 6. Then I roll again for the second attack. Now, I don't have my Ultra Heavy. I picked Super Strength. I don't have the Ultra Heavy this time. And I hit, and it gets her down. Next turn, she clears. It's now my turn. Krang's double beated. And now he's on click 5, and I'm in trouble. I remember, by the grace of God, I outwit her move and attack ability. She doesn't have running shot anymore in her flight. I move Batmite, and I'm on New York City map, and I'm all the way in the corner, and my support's behind blocking terrain, and we're literally one square in front of the blocking terrain. I move Batmite and teleport Krang back. And now I'm safe from Coriander. She literally has to just move or just pass and can't attack me. So I do that. I heal up with Night Nurse. Next turn, I heal up with Night Nurse again and then kill Coriander. And then it's just me whittling off his support. But it was a great guy. He reminds me a lot of Eddie, our teammate. Or kind of teammate that plays with us in South Florida. Not official teammate yet. Oh, and by the way, so we had our name, Squadron Supreme, but Solomon was acting crazy and wanted a new team name. So we have agreed, and our official team name is the Night's Watch. That's right, winter's coming. We're protecting everybody, but everybody has to know that winter's coming, and at the end of the day, we're going to win. So we're huge fans of Game of Thrones. That's the team name, the Night's Watch. So know when you sit down across from us, know that winter is coming and winter is here when we start rolling the dice. So that was it for that tournament. 4th round, I played against another Florida guy. He's part of Phil Jr.'s crew. He ran Krang. But this is the thing about this Krang Idol team. He wins initiative, so I think I automatically lose because of this, right? He moves up. So he does first turn immunity. I pass. Then he moves up and kills Justin and then goes back, right? Because he has kind of a standard team. It's Baxter, Justin, Krang, and he puts, instead of Ultron Drone Pandora's box, he put Jean Grey, Fast Forces Jean Grey, to kind of help with more mobility. But he kills Justin, and now he thinks that, I don't have mobility, I'm just a sitting duck. Not realizing, because Batmite is so old, that Batmite is another Justin Seyfried for me. So I move my 10 movement with Batmite, blink Krang over there, take a free action attack at his Krang, hit, then take my second attack on his Krang. His Krang is now dead. So now it's my Krang team with just Batmite, Night Nurse, and Krang versus his Krang team without Krang. And next turn I move back and heal up Krang, and he just calls it game. I mean, it was the shortest Heroclix game ever, even shorter than the Point Denial team. I went 4-0. I missed winning a neoprene map by 3 points, so I got second place. But that was awesome. Went to the top 32. Oh, and sadly Solomon did not make it through the quarter. He played like a weird Teagle.com team, but it was like Overdrive, Double Teagle, and an Ant-Man, something like that. But he didn't make it, sadly. Start of the finals, I ended up going 2-2. First game, who the heck did I play? First game, what the heck did I play against? Oh, so game one, I play against another SoFlo legend, Ricardo. And he plays Krang. Krang is such a Florida staple. I end up playing Idol Krang again, but with the Batman ID card. He played Krang, Justin, Baxter, and Faust. And he wins initiative, so I think I'm going to lose again. He wins initiative. He does first turn immunity. I pass, maybe? He comes and attacks my Justin. I move my back Krang and kill his Krang, similar to before. He didn't roll any shutdown powers with Faust, and I end up killing his Faust. Really short game, but great guy. Cool team idea. Second turn, I get paired up against Easton Brock. He's playing the Quinjet. I feel comfortable because in testing, Idle Krang can kill Quinjet. But he wins initiative, which was huge. If I won initiative, I had a much better chance because I probably would have been able to kill 2 drones on my first strike. But he picks the map with the weird lines, like one side of the map blocks lines of fire for shooting and another side blocks line of fire for movement. He moves into the one that blocks line of fire for shooting and positions perfectly to where the only shot I could have is if I shoot the jet. So I do shoot the jet for 5, and his Quinjet has an action token. He moves out to the other side of the map and pushes his Quinjet, which I'm like, yes. So I push Krang again, and I kill 2 drones, and I move back. He has to clear. I'm able to heal up Krang to click, 2 or 3, and clear Krang, and then he goes. He calls out Big Boy Green. No. He called out the Atom and retaliates on me he calls it out with Atomica. And he hits and he does 2 damage to a lot of my support, which my support's not dead, but 2 damage sucks. Then on my turn, I heal with Justin, Seyfried, and I call out Trinity Wars Batman. No, I just heal with Justin, I think, and clear. Then he clears. No, so he called out Adam, then cleared. I heal and clear. Then he calls out Big Boy Green Arrow and kills Night Nurse. Then what did I do at that point? I call out Trinity Wars Batman and heal myself up to top click. He moves up, free boys out Red Tornado, and kills Batmite and does 1 click penetrating to Krang. I kill Red Tornado with Krang and get, full points. And then there was no way I could position out of Nick's, kind of range thing. So he calls out Nick and kills my Krang, and it was a game. He said he did all the right moves to stop me. Looking back, I should not have went Colossal with Krang for that first attack on the Quinjet. I should have just hit it and because all that stacking damage really took away the stamina that I would have needed to beat the Quinjet. So that was the mistake there, but Easton said that was the toughest Crane game he'd ever played in. He was a great guy, another player that was not douchey at all. Great guy. Round 3, I played against the Ultron Swarm team. Not PJ Boolin himself, but his buddy. And man, I learned such a lesson here. Just to make a long story short, I kill both of his Colossals. He only played 2 Colossals. I kill both of them in my first Alpha Strike. Second Alpha Strike, I kill 2 drones. He does not roll to bring them back. I heal up with Batman. I get some stuff going. I kill some more drones. He gets the dial up quick enough to call out real people. He misses, he calls in ID characters, but I didn't give him any shots, really. And he, missed with the ID calling that he called in. He gets it up to click 2. He calls in Real Boy, Shazam, and the Chase, Captain America, Steve Rogers, that's part of the Nova Corps. And he does some work killing off some support stuff, but he missed some of the attacks against Krang. I choose Pulse Wave with Krang, go in, I kill another drone, and I kill a drone. So before he calls in the Real Boys, I kill a drone and kill Ultron 1. Then he calls in those Real Boys and miss. I go and choose Pulse Wave. I kill a drone, and then I Pulse Wave and get his Real Boys out and kill another drone. He has 2 drones that both have an action token now, and are both on click 2. I'm in a really great position. He calls out his Nick Fury, though, and he kills my Krang with his Nick Fury, and all I have at this point is Justin Seyfried. Now, this is where people had told me this lesson plenty of times, but I didn't actually learn it, meaning I'll never make that mistake again until this moment. I'm at the other side of the map, and I'm in hinderings, and Justin has stealth, and I'm behind blocking terrain. He's on the other side of the map with 2 Ultron drones that are both pushed, and a Real Boy Nick Fury that has an action token. They had called 10 minutes, maybe 2 turns ago. So I'm anywhere from 7 to 4 minutes out. I asked to count points, and he says we can do it later. And I end up just conceding to him because all I wanted was, about 200 points. Because if I got 180 in that game and 180 in the next game and a win, I would qualify for sure. Because I had cleared out all my other games. So I concede to him because I realized I got at least 200 points, not realizing I had 315 points. He did not, and he had 200 something. I could have, counted spaces, done all that, and drawn the game out, and possibly won that game. And I think that was my opportunity to advance. I got 315 points with a loss. Next game, I played against Son Goku. He was running Red Sun Superwoman, the Pro Lock, which I like that way more than the Morlockius. It's the Proteus Morlock combo, but the Pro Lock just sounds better. And he had 25-point Solaris with the box. And I kill his Solaris, and I hit his Red Sun Superwoman with my first Alpha Strike. He moves up more than half the board on his next turn, and now he's within striking distance of my starting line with my Krang having 2 action tokens, and and he has super strength with the Wonder Woman ready to kill my Krang that only has 17 defense. I go colossal and colossal push my Krang to hit Wonder Woman. I don't kill her, which sucks. And he ends up killing me, taking me up through there. And great player, great respectable guy of Son Goku. And I don't make it. Joe doesn't make it either. I had 900 points with only one win. If I had 2 wins, I could have made the 32 cut, which really sucked. Joe got some bad false matchups where they rolled crazy things, and he went 2-2 but didn't have enough points to advance. Overall, it was great. After that, I just started kind of watching a lot of Pat's games and watching kind of people with interesting teams. So much fun. If you're there, don't go play the side events once it's the day of the finals. Watch the finals. Like, that's why we're there. This is a sport. These are the greatest competitors or athletes of our sport that we love. Watch. Pick up, tricks. I mean, these were... The Patrick's top 8 and Patrick's top 4 games were the only times where I was nervous ever and not actually playing. It was a lot of fun. Super great time. The stuff about the DQing, I want to talk about that a little bit. And some of these ideas are representative of my team, of Solomon saying his piece and Joe saying his. So what happened was Terry, and I could say this from what I know about Terry. Terry, the number one thing about Terry is having integrity and doing the right thing. You can see that from his lifestyle. He served our country in the military. That's how he runs the venue as a judge. That's just how he comes off. He really comes off as that Captain America, type of guy. And I know his family loves him, So he's going by the books. He's going by the WizKids rules for tournament events. And the WizKids rules are, if someone has an illegal team build or an illegal, they fill out their sheet wrong, they will get disqualified, and every player that signed off on their sheet will get disqualified when the mistake is discovered. So at 2-2, at the beginning of round 3, 2 people get disqualified that are both 2-0. One for an illegal build and one for, he filled his sheet out wrong, which he had Cosmic Theme Team with Thugs and some other stuff, not realizing that Thugs only do that for name theme teams and not generic theme team, which he realized that after he filled out the sheet, that he never rolled for theme team bonus and never, theme team probbed, but they still disqualified him. Who was the other guy? So later, at round 4, they DQ somebody because they, for this round, they had the card for the relic, but they grabbed the wrong relic. And Easton Brock was disqualified because of this, and he was sitting at the main table about to be recorded on the Twitch feed against Scott Crampton, and they disqualified Easton. Now, this Easton Brock being disqualified was obviously a much bigger deal than the no-name people who got, and not no-name like they don't matter. I mean, they're not known in the competitive circuit. I didn't mean to seem condescending, because I'm not known in the competitive circuit either, It was a much bigger deal for everybody when he got disqualified. To his credit, so the judges, they're going to obviously take some time to talk about this, because Easton wasn't going quietly at all about it. He was pissed off. To the Rock's credit, Howard Brock was playing in the event, not judging. Howard does not go and talk to the judges that are conversing in the corner. He stays at his table, doesn't get involved at all, doesn't say a word to anybody, because it's his son and he knows that he can't get involved because, this is bigger than him at this point. This is about the credibility of The Rock. And Terry was put in a bad position because, one, he's a friend of Easton. He's a friend of Howard. It's stupid that he should be disqualified for somebody's mistake because the girl who she signed, she had the right game elements earlier. It's just in this other game, she chose the wrong thing out of her box. And, you know, he wants to do the right thing, but he wants everyone to have a good time. Also, Easton made a good point. He said, if this ruling stands and I can be disqualified because she chose the wrong piece out of her box, at any point, anyone can decide that, oh, I don't like this person. They can just say, oops, I can't find my Batman. You know, you're disqualified. And everybody I've played today is disqualified. And taking that a step further, if that were allowed to stand, you know, I could actually pay people to come, enter, play 4 rounds, and then disqualify people, trying to strategically eliminate high-level players to make it easier for me to win. Like, you could kind of get crazy with it. I know it's only a $4,000 prize, but, you know, potentially people can do that. So they talk about it. They reinstate Easton. They reinstate the other players. Now, everybody was on tilt about it. It was questionable, but, you know, everyone was kind of happy. It was Scott Crampton and Kevin Afruz that really found the ruling, because this was a WizKids ruling that The Rock had ruled against a couple of years earlier with Kevin Afruz. So, you know, they found the link and found the stuff and reinstated it back in. You know, all's good. But what they didn't realize is, for the average player, that was very scary, because for 2 no-name guys that haven't been playing that long, didn't know about this ruling, didn't have friends in high places, no one batted an eye when they got disqualified. No one advocated for them. Kevin Afruz didn't go and find the rules. But when it came to Easton, and of course, and that's not against Kevin Afruz and Scott Crampton. Why would I go the extra mile? I got my own stuff to worry about. But when it came to their friend Easton, and, you know, it really would have been a shame if one of the best players was disqualified. You know, I didn't want him to be disqualified. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't blame Kevin or anybody for that matter for going to bat for their friend, but not taking the time and energy during that long day, because they're going to be playing Heroclix for 10 hours if they advance. You know, I don't blame them for not going the extra mile for people they don't know. You can't blame them for that and be a rational human being. But it was scary for the average person to say, wow, if I don't have the connections, I can be disqualified and I have nobody to stick up for me. And looking at that, it kind of makes it, standing outside of, you know, the top tier echelon of players, it can look like the ROC is actually just a boys club. You know, if you're not Team Pusheen, Team Stratagem, or Majestics, you know, you're not getting up in this thing. You're not winning. You're not doing well. And, you know, you can say, well, Isaac won and he's not any of those teams. Well, Isaac had special judging and had people active judging and watching because he's 11, and no one's going to let an 11-year-old get taken advantage of. And he's a great player, and he has people like Scott Crampton, who's very vocal, sticking up for him and looking out for him. So that happened. Easton ends up making it to the finals, and he's playing against Ed, and it was a very good game. Watch that video whenever it's posted, and if you know that it's already posted, please send me a link or tell me where I can find it. I'd love to go rewatch those games. They play, it ends up coming down to the end. Ed had called in Superman Blue and attacked the Quinjet, trying to kill it, and missed. But so Easton calls in Nightwing. He says, okay, I need a flurry, hyperplex up attack, I'm going to roll for the dial. Right? So those are the exact things he said. I'm right by the table. That's exactly what he said. He said, I'm a flurry, I perplex up the attack, I'm going to roll for the dial now. Right? So then the timer goes off. The judge calls time. Now, most of the people, Team Stratagem, Majestics players, the Brocks,
all that are all around the judge to one side, and everyone else is to the other side. And to Terry's credit, everyone was making noise, and the timer went off in his hand. So he did not have a clear way to hear what Easton said and what sequence he said it. Now, to everyone that was on the other side, the 4 Point Gaming Club, Night's Watch, everybody that's on this side, we heard what Easton said. Now, Easton had a valid argument that he was saying, well, I did declare I'm going to flurry. I'm just resolving the action of rolling the dice. Okay, I understand that. I can give the benefit of the doubt for his perspective of why he was arguing for it. Now, I also understand Ed's point of view. Ed was saying, no, you did not declare an action. You said flurry, but then you perplexed instead of flurrying, and then you said you were going to roll the dial. So your last action was rolling the dial. I understand Ed's point of view. So they're both arguing. The judge says, ROC rules, Ed, you get to pick as not active player. 1 through 3, you get the ruling. Do you want 1 through 3 for you, or 4 through 6? We're going to roll the dice. Ed, of course, he doesn't want to say that he picks 1 through 3, because if he picks one of the numbers, he's consenting to that he agrees with this method of ruling and judging. So Ed's looking at it, I'm sure, after Easton being disqualified, re-entered, and now at a make-or-break last-minute call that seems obvious from his perspective, he's thinking, this thing's kind of rigged. And he tells him, I think you favor him. And Terry gets so angry. Terry showed great self-control. He didn't blow up right then. Since Ed refused, he's judged, so it's his call. It's Terry's call. It's not anybody else's call. Since Ed refuses to choose, he chooses for Ed, says 1 through 3. Easton is 4 through 6, and he rolls the dice. It lands on 1 through 3, so Easton does not get to make the flurry. And then Terry's upset because Ed questioned his character in front of everybody, and he said, thanks for questioning my character. And Ed says, yeah, sorry, but I did. And, Ed not knowing, I don't think he knows Terry personally, not knowing, what great strides Terry goes through to be a man of character and integrity, didn't know what a low blow that felt like for him, and it was very kind of insensitive to how bad a position he had been in through the whole day of judging some tough calls, man, some tough stuff. And Terry got mad, went out, and he since said that he's quitting Heroclix, which I hope he changes his mind and doesn't quit, because he was a great judge. Great judge. And even Ed felt bad afterwards, because Ed's not, from what I saw, Ed is not the type of guy to want to make people angry or hurt people. He really seemed like a great guy, and he raised a great kid in Isaac. So, and I heard him say, that he felt like he's about to cry because he didn't want to, hurt anybody in his statement. He just really felt like he was being treated unfairly. And we counted up the points, and it actually, even if Easton had killed Superman Blue, he still would not have had enough points to win. In either way, Ed would have still won. So, it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. A lot of people are kind of in shock in the aftermath, and a lot of people walked away feeling like they had a bad taste in their mouth, that the ROC is kind of like a boys club. Now, I'm not like that. I can kind of take a step back and see from the people's perspective. But here's something that, us at the Night's Watch, that we talked about what Easton could have done, because Easton, whether he wants to be or not, he's been playing in ROC since he was around Isaac's age. And Easton is the face of the Rock. Even if he's never won a Rock championship, Easton Brock is the face of ROC. When you think of ROC, you think of him, he's the prince of the Rock. He wins the most Rocks out of anybody year after year. He's already if there was a Rock Hall of Fame, he would already be in it. He is the Rock.
and especially with his dad organizing it, being the head of organizing the Rock, or one of the heads, he represents the Rock to a whole nother level than an average competitive player would. And when he got DQ'd, he should have already been thinking, and again, I'm not saying he did the wrong thing, because I would have been pissed too. And I don't think that he didn't have a right to fight. You know, I think he did have a right to fight. I think the ruling was dumb. And I'm glad that he did get to play. But when we were talking about what he could have done, he should have, the moment they said he was DQ'd, he should not have allowed anybody to advocate for him. He should have said, no, they were DQ'd earlier for this. I'm DQ'd. This ruling has to change. After today, this ruling should never appear again. But I'll step back from this one for the integrity and the sake of The Rock. And if he would have done that, everybody would have been at peace. He would have had a huge win from the fans. No one could have said anything bad about him. They could have said, well, the only reason Easton didn't win, or he could have possibly won, but he stood up for The Rock, because if he would have done that, he would have been taking a step back and saying, wow, this ruling right now is bigger than Easton Brock's Heroclix career. This is about the integrity of the Rock World Championship. Because if people start to feel like this is not the World Championship, this is a boys club championship, this is a club of about 20 people, and the rest of us are just financially supporting these 20 people, then that's really bad for the ROC, and that's bad for the future of Heroclix. Everybody wins when The Rock is respectable and is respected. And I think that's what Easton could have done, is step back and say, nope, what's fair is fair. We'll change the ruling. This will never happen again to another player, but what's fair is fair. I can't have people questioning the integrity of The Rock, because if Easton would have won this year, yeah, he would have had a world title. No, I don't think he should have had an asterisk because of that. But for scornful players, for spiteful players, even just players that are afraid of being treated as badly, they all would have put an asterisk by that world title. And the validation that a world title would give Easton, he wouldn't have got the validation that he needed or that he wanted from winning that world title this year. So, I mean, it's better for everybody. Thank God Ed won the title, because this would have went down as, you know, like Barry Bonds' home run title, if he would have won that. And that's to no fault of Easton. And it's not Terry's fault either. It's the ROC's fault. They should have clear rules. They should have rules that everybody knows. They should have rules that are handy. The judges should be allowed to make exceptions to certain rules if it goes against the spirit of the game or the spirit of the rule. And that's what I think. But as far as is the ROC dirty, was that a bad call? No, the ROC is not dirty. No, that was not a bad call. Is there some boys club mentality? Probably a little bit. Is it intentional? No. Is it so much so that it destroys the integrity of the World Championship? No. Because nobody in the kind of clique of friends won the world title 2 years in a row. I mean, that's obvious. And none of them are trying to do that. All of them want Heroclix to succeed. All of them want the ROC to succeed. And the ROC is growing. This was my first year coming to it. There was a lot of people, it was their first year coming to the Rock World Championship, and it's growing. And this is just a part of the growing pains of going from, lesser known to more known. And Heroclix is growing, so the Rock's growing, and stuff like this is just growing pains. So that's all that it is. It should blow over. Congratulations to Easton. You earned it. You earned every single win. You're a class act. I know that from playing against you. Congrats to Ed for winning. Congrats for that team, which was awesome and scary. If you don't know, he played the Quinjet at 75, Felix Faust, 2 Ultron drones, and Jarvis and the Atom with, X amount of ID cards.
and he played with such precision and made sequencing right, threat assessment was right. I mean, a great player. He was already a world champion. Now this is his second world title. Great weekend. The Rock, if you're going to come to one tournament, come to the Rock World Championship. It is so fun. It's so different than casual clicks gaming. It doesn't even compare. It's like, I was about to do a bad drug reference and realized that it would not be appropriate. Yeah, it's like the rush you get from playing competitive clicks, and for Roctober, you get that rush 3 days in a row. I mean, it was amazing. Everybody was cool people. Married with Clicks people were great. It was awesome. So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe, share the channel. This was episode